Hello people. So this is my table saw. It's a Bosch 4000 10-inch table saw, and I've had it for 20 years. Well, last year it started doing this weird thing, and I'll just show you now. It's running backwards and slowly. Now, according to some internet sources, this is because the field, which is an electronic or electrical part inside the motor, is like the windings or whatever, a pretty integral part of the motor is worn out or defective, or something's wrong with it now. And supposedly if you get a new field, you can replace it and your $600 saw will work again, because that's what a new one costs. It's about $600. Now, I've found the field on eBay for about 60 bucks, and evidently you probably are supposed to replace the brushes with it, which is an additional $10 or so. So this video is going to be about me getting into there and replacing that. Now, I have not ordered the parts yet. I thought what I would do is I would try to take it apart a little bit, kind of show you what's going on in there, and maybe fiddle around with it, and I don't know, just see if, touch something and maybe it'll start working again before I spend my hard-earned dollars on replacement parts. So that's it. That's the video. That's what we're going to do. I'm making this video because I did not see this specific video on YouTube. I've searched for it multiple times, and I see people talking about the control boards. I see people doing restorations. I see people doing maintenance, but I do not see anybody repairing this field coil or field core or whatever it is inside there as a YouTube video. All right, I'm gonna flip it over, unplug it, and start looking at it. All right, so looking at it, it doesn't look like it's going to be real easy to do anything, but I did notice that the brushes are going to be behind this screw, one on each side, and I thought maybe I would go ahead and see what those look like. So I've taken out one side, and that's the brush, and it looks like there's a lot of brush there left to me, but maybe there's something wrong with it, I don't know. So I'm going to take out the other side, and I'm just using a little stubby screwdriver, and it's not tight at all. A little cap, and then the brush comes out, and that pretty much looks just like the other one. So keep them separate on their sides. What I'm going to do is I'm going to get air and blow this out, and then try it again. I'm going to reinsert the brushes and then see if that does anything different. All right, so I've reinstalled the brushes and plugged it back in. Same thing, running backwards and slowly. So the brushes didn't fix it. All right, so there are 4 screws. At least I think there's 4 screws. I can only see 2. 1 screw, 2 screws, and I assume there's 3 and 4 on the back. I'm going to take those screws out in an attempt to just remove this black portion of the motor. Hopefully that'll come out. We'll see. All right, so I've taken out the 4 screws. So I've taken out the 4 screws that hold up 1, 2, 3, 4 like that. They're all the same size. But now all it does is it doesn't come down, it just rotates. So I'm not sure how to get that off. Might be time to just go back in and read the internet a little bit. I mean, I don't want to rip down this table saw to all of its basic components, and I don't know how to do it efficiently. So I guess it's time to read a little bit, and then I'll come back and work on it some more. All right, so here's a funny thing. I went back inside and was reading the internet a little bit, and I saw somebody do this. Look at that. That'll make it a lot easier to work on it. Now I can get to these screws, probably some screws down in here, and I think the brushes have to come out as well. So let me try that now. But if you're going to work on that, realize that you can tilt the blade and then the motor becomes easier to access. I didn't realize that. So I've removed the 3 screws from the bottom of the motor, and they're all the exact same size. Now I pulled this off a minute ago, and it was really hard to get the wires back in this little space. So realize that they fit in there very specifically. And now, so that's a board. Is that the speed control board or something? This could be what's wrong with my machine, if that's the speed control board. What I'm going to do is I'm going to blow all this out with dust and then see if anything changes. All right, so I have put the bolts, screws back into the motor. I have put the brushes back in. This is still hanging loose, but I have blown it all out of dust. The unit's plugged in. Let's see what it does. Slowly and backwards. Now, I've seen people on the internet say that if it goes slowly and backwards, it's the motor speed control. I should probably go figure out exactly which part is the motor speed control. I read about somebody who took their speed control off, unsoldered the wire connections that go to the board, and resoldered them on, and it magically worked. So I'm not above trying that. But I'd like to know exactly what board to be fooling with. So let me go figure that out. So this little board is the control board, which often I guess can be the culprit. And so I started to take it apart, and I was taking out this wire clip, and then I realized, well, the wires are kind of tough. So I thought, okay, so the white goes to the white. This little black one goes to the short black one here, and this long black one is connected to the board, I guess, and goes that way. Just wanted to get this on cam before I completely disassembled it. I didn't mention it before, but this blue wire goes to the line in black, whatever it is. So white to white, black to the short one, and this one goes to the blue. All right, so I have connected the black and white wires from this line in, from the switch, directly to the motor, and the control board is no longer even connected to the system. So hopefully this doesn't blow it up. It shouldn't, but maybe this is a way to test the control board. All right, it's plugged in, testing. It would seem that the control board is my issue. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to unplug it, I'm going to disconnect it again, and I'm going to fiddle with this control board. You know, I've heard of people, I guess they call it resoldering a board. You just stick it in the oven, essentially, and turn the oven up as hot as it'll go or something. I'll read about it before I do it, if I do it. So you stick it in the oven, and the idea is to get it hot, and hopefully the solder will reflow. The other idea that I read about earlier is that somebody disconnected the wires coming from this board and resoldered them, and then it started working, like there was a bad solder joint or something like that. I don't know. I'm not an electronics guy, but I'm willing to give it a shot. These control, but that's $44 plus shipping, I guess. If there's shipping, I don't know. Anyway, let me see what I can do. All right, so I got that apart, but I wanted to point out a couple of details. So to get this wire, this clamp out of there, if you twist it and then pull it out, it comes out easier. This comes out real easy. It just slides right out. And so the little wires, we know about those, but this big one kind of went through there and then down here. And then under here is another thing, a connector, and then that connects onto there. And it was all just kind of poked up in there, and I had to pull on it a little bit, and then the wire came loose. So that's your connection. And I'd read about this connection, that it's kind of cheesy, kind of a cheesy connection, but it is what it is. So there's the part, the control board. Don't really see anything wrong with it, but I don't know. Guess it's time to go back and read about resoldering boards. I mean, I guess I could just put, you know, it's got goop all over it. Like they soldered it and then put, you know, they put glue all over it to help keep it from vibrating apart, I guess. So I don't know, 44 bucks to get one of these. You know, I wonder if I just leave this out of the equation and just hardwire it, what would happen? Probably go bad after a while. All right, well, I'll read about it. I am back, and so what I have going on here is I broke down. I went to my local hardware, or not hardware store, but tool outlet where I purchased this saw 20 years ago, and bought a new speed control from them. It was a little bit more than say looking for it online. Like I was able to find them online at $45. Then you still might pay some shipping, you might pay some taxes. I just love vehicles that are as loud as they can possibly be. Honestly, I just do not understand it. Anyway, so I paid $60 after tax for the new one, and the old this one, $45. You might pay shipping, you might pay some taxes, so you know it might be $10 more to get it from your local tool shop if you have that available to you. And so I was fooling around with it a little while ago, and while I was doing it, this happened. Bloop! This little tab broke off right here, this wing, and that's actually what the screw rests against. When you attach this piece to that piece, the screw bottoms out right there, and you can see on right here it has the exact same stress fracture. I'm hoping you can see that. And so I can see it moving, and so to me, I'm just going to break this and then glue it back on with some super glue. That's what I'm going to do on this side. You may be able to purchase this piece, but for me, I'm going to super glue it. So I'm going to break this one off, super glue it back on, super glue that one back on. I'm going to install this new controller inside here and connect the wires back up, and hopefully it will work again. So I'll do that, and then I'll let you know what happened. I forgot to mention, when I was looking at these two parts, so this one says 2702. Now I take that to mean 2002, which pretty much lines up for when I bought this saw back in 2002. And this one says 3119, so I would assume that 19 means the year 2019, making this one, you know, so much newer. And looking for differences, I did notice that they are slightly different. I see some resistors, at least I assume those are resistors on the back, whereas there are no resistors that I can see on the old one. Other than that, they do look very much similar. Some slight differences, but so I have temporarily put this back together with just some standard old household wire nuts. We've got the line in black to the blue. The little board black wire goes to the motor black wire, white to white. And you can't see it, but this flexible black wire from there connects up underneath here to that other wire I showed you, but that actually also goes onto an electrical tab up there that I didn't see that tab before, but when I was pulling this wire down, it came off of that tab. So it's actually like a three-way connection. Somebody on the internet was kind of complaining about that. I think that's why I mentioned it earlier. But I'm going to plug it in and then turn it on. So it's plugged in. Let's see what it does. Nothing. Nothing. Let me double check some stuff. All right, so the GFCI, I guess, was tripped, or something was tripped, and I've reset it. So I've glued that back on. I've connected it temporarily. See if it comes on. All right, so there it is. It's working. I honestly, I don't know why my circuit breaker was tripped. I do have the air compressor and whatnot plugged into it. I suppose it could have turned on and maybe tripped it, or possibly when I was running this circuit before without the speed control connected, I had just connected the wires and ran it. I suppose that could have made a ground fault as well. All right, so I'm going to finish putting that back together, and then I'll show you when it's complete. So I thought I would try to get you a shot of that black wire. This is the black wire that comes from the speed control board, and it goes up and connects to this red wire, and both of them connect to the motor brushes, because you have one on that side. So there you go. That was that's the hidden connection. And just as an aside note, so tilting the saw blade in the frame makes it easier to get to this, as well as having the blade in the all the way down position seemed like that brought it this direction and made it a little bit easier to get to some of these screws. All right, I'm gonna put it back together now. All right, so I have it reassembled. It did not go back together perfectly. The wires, like I said when I started this, according to everybody who's done this particular job, it's very difficult to get the wires back in there. And so I poked and pushed and poked and pushed until they went in there and the cover went on fairly smoothly. But then as I was tightening up this screw, those two wings where the screws go in were broken. Well, this one snapped clean off. I think that was the one that's broken. And this one seems to be tight, and this one seems to be tight. So, you know, it's on there. It's broken. You know, maybe if I have a problem in the future, I might get a new cover if one is available. But while I have the camera running, I'll go ahead and turn it on, see if it works. As you can see, it seems to be working. All right, so this is the video. I hope you guys, I hope somebody finds this video useful. Not normally the kind of video I would make, but I need this table saw to do something for Camp Lapidary. Working on my trailer, and this saw has been down for far too long, and now it seems to be back in service. All right, thanks for watching. Bye.